I'm so sorry for the delay. Our internet like went out and oops, it took me a minute to get it to come back. I had to reset the router, and so of course it happened like right as our class was about to start. So I'm so sorry for the couple of minute delay, but I see a bunch of you joining me, getting your names in the chat. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad I'm here and that it finally started working. Can you all hear and see me okay? Can someone let me know in the chat if everything is coming through all right with like a thumbs up or a yes or something like that? If you have a second, like, yes, okay, good. So you can hear and see me. That's great. A minute ago, like, it wouldn't even let me start the stream. So, again, sorry for the couple minute delay. But we are in week number 2. I hope you're all surviving this incredibly hot weather that we have going on here. It's supposed to be even hotter over the next couple of days. So I hope you're able to stay cool, take care of yourselves, and I hope you're surviving the first week or two of the semester. I know it's always a little bit of a harsh transition from summer. We are officially right here. Okay, so we are in the week number 2 of the weeks 1 and 2. Remember, you have access to 2 weeks at a time. So if you haven't done the materials from week number 1, they are still open. Since we are in week number 2, I'm going to focus on the materials in week 2 today. And the recording from last week is obviously there. If you weren't able to make it live, you can still go back and watch it right here where it says recording of week number 1. I went over everything from last week. And if you're subscribed on Twitch, you can still do the extra credit question from last week if you watched the recording. So we are right here, though, in week number 2. So that's what I will focus on with you today. I'll go through what we have due this week. We'll talk a lot about the exam. We have our first test this week. And then I'll give you the extra credit question and see if you have any questions for me. So that's kind of our plan. Remember that everything, I'm going to put this here in the chat. Remember that everything from weeks 1 and 2 is due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so just a quick reminder that everything from last week and this week is due by this Sunday night. So this week, as always, we have 2 chapters and 2 discussions, but we also have our first exam. So we'll spend some time talking about that. Remember that with each chapter, you want to do 3 things, right? You want to read the chapter in the ebook, read through the lecture, and watch the lecture video. So make sure you're doing all 3 things for each of these, and that's going to help you to understand all the materials, make sure that everything is clear. Hopefully all together it creates kind of a nice picture of that content for you. Once you've done all of your reading, you've gone through the lecture and the lecture video, click on any links, watch any videos that I include. Your 2 discussions for this week are discussion 3 and discussion 4. So let's take a look at those together really quickly. As always, you have my instructions up here at the top, followed by my video, followed by the prompt. So remember to watch the little introduction video. That's going to give you some valuable information specific to the prompt. Don't forget to answer all of the questions. Be detailed. Think about them as like little mini papers if that helps you. I would rather you give me too much than not enough. I will never take off points for too much. I will, of course, be grading everything from weeks 1 and 2 after Sunday night passes, so probably on Monday of next week. But if you would like a little sample, there is a rubric right here and a sample posting if you're kind of curious what I'm looking for. Also, don't forget the peer response. I know it's like only worth 2 points, but they're a very easy 2 points to get. You don't want to miss out on them. Total of 15 points for every discussion. So once you watch the little video, here's the prompt. This one's all about biological psychology and neurons. So you're going to be thinking about neurons and why they're important. You're going to read this little article right here related to the 10% myth of the brain. You're going to answer how neurons communicate with each other. This is the one that people tend to not quite like. In the years that I've been teaching this class, I tend to see some themes, obviously. Make sure that you really elaborate right here in how neurons communicate. I'm looking for something related to electrochemical communication. Really should be mentioning that. And I'm going to try and help you with that a little bit. Kind of spoiler alert, that will be related to our extra credit for this stream. But definitely think a little bit about how neurons communicate with each other. in the sense of electrochemical communication. And then you'll read this article and describe the origins and beginnings of the 10% myth of the brain and provide 2 reasons or pieces of evidence why we know that to just be a myth, why it's false. And you can see a bunch of you have already answered that, which is fantastic. Or I'm sorry, one of you has already answered that. If you wanted to, let's say, reply to Renee, you could hit reply. But don't forget to hit reply to answer my questions and then also to respond to a classmate. That's discussion number 3. When you're ready, discussion number 4 is here as well. So when you click on that, it'll bring up the same thing, right? You'll have my instructions up here at the top, followed by my video, followed by the prompt. And I really like this discussion. I think it's kind of fun. This one's all about smell memories. And smell memories are really, really fascinating. And it's definitely like a cool application of psychology. So you're going to read this little article. There's a couple of them right here about smell and memory and how they're connected. And then you're going to perform a little experiment just on your own. It doesn't have to be anything too involved, but you're going to gather a sample of at least 3 of the following: coffee, tea, cinnamon, chocolate, chapstick, any kind of scented candle, a small amount of grass or dirt, a flower of any kind, Play-Doh, crayons, some sort of fresh fruit or herb, and then 2 uncommon items of your choosing. It can be something that like you really like the smell of, like a perfume or a cologne or a food or something in your life. But you're going to gather items, and I'm sitting right here at my table. And for example, I have a pumpkin candle right here. We've already, like, as I mentioned, decorated for Halloween. Happy back to school Halloween. And so what you're going to do with each one of these items is you're going to take it, you're going to close your eyes, and you're going to smell it. And the second I smell this one, it just reminds me of so many Halloween memories with my family, decorating for Halloween. I think of when we take all of the stuff out of like the Halloween box and that first like whiff of Halloween smell, like kind of in August, since that's when we normally decorate. And that's what you're going to do with each one of these items. You're going to close your eyes. You're going to try to let yourself experience the smell, clear your mind, be present. And then you're going to write about your experience down here. Number 1, did you experience any intense memories or associations? What did you respond to the most or the least? What would you suggest? Number 2 is worth the most points. And similar to like I shared with you on the last discussion, here I really want you to highlight what are smell memories. And you're getting that information not only from the textbook, but also from these articles, right? So what I want you to tell me is, how do smell memories occur? What are the different processes that occur to make them happen? Really elaborate on why they occur, what they are, what are the different connections being made. And that's where people tend to lose a couple of points, just not quite giving me enough. Finally, how can you use the knowledge that there's an association between smell and memory in your personal life? What's a practical application of this information? And then really think it through and explain it to me. When you're ready, you'll hit reply to answer my questions, and then don't forget to also reply to a classmate to get those 2 points. Okay, so those are the things that are kind of typical, right? 2 chapters, 2 discussions. We do have our first exam this week, and I know exams cause a lot of anxiety. Remember that ours is open note and open book. I really hope that helps to kind of reduce some of that anxiety that maybe some of you might be experiencing. You also have a study guide right here underneath it. So if you click on the study guide, what I want to point out is that it has a list of all the terms that you need to know for the test. If it's on the study guide, it will be on the exam. If it's not on here, you don't need to know it, right? That means it won't be on the test. So make sure that you've studied and prepared everything that's here. What I do is go through the exam and put the key terms or concepts you need to know in this list. So chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4, everything from this week and last week will be this test. And so make sure that you know every term on here. Also know these 2 diagrams. They gave you the 2 exact diagrams from the exam. And if it were me, and I will preface this by saying I'm one of those like obnoxious straight A students that wants to get like every possible point and then some in the class. But if you want to maximize your chances of success, what I would do is study like you would for a normal exam. So you can use your notes, you can use your book, But if you're trying to look everything up, you are going to run out of time. So what I would do is go through and write or type out all of these terms, and I'd have it in front of me. That way, let's say I get to Pearson's R, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't remember what Pearson's R is. You don't have to go back through the textbook, back through the lectures, wasting valuable exam time. You can just look down at your study guide and you've already defined it and it's right there. Okay, so that's what I would do if it were me. You're welcome to approach it in whatever way works for you. I will never trick you on an exam. If you know all the terms on here and you've studied, you should do really, really well. I think my exams are very straightforward and very not tricky or hard in any way. I will never give you a trick question. But if you don't prepare and study, if you're trying to just answer everything by checking in the book and so on, you're going to struggle a little bit with your timing. And that is a little bit intentional just to push you to study. So I would definitely recommend that. You could always see how it goes. But in my opinion, it's better to over prepare for the first exam if you don't know what to expect than under prepare and wish you had done more. So just something to throw out there. The exam, if you click on exam number 1, it will remind you that you're taking this on the ebook site. So you can go straight to the ebook if you already have it. And the exams are up here at the top where it says exams. So you'll click on that. And if you scroll down, here are the instructions for exams 1 through 4. And I just want to go through this with you for a moment, make sure that you're feeling good about it. So you have 75 minutes to take the test. Okay, there are roughly 72, 73 questions, so it's about a minute per question. So definitely be mindful of your time. There will be a little clock on the page and it will keep track for you of where you're at. And it will stop you when time expires. So if you don't know the answer to a question, skip it and come back to it. And again, this is where that preparing and studying comes in handy. What I tend to see is it takes people on average about 60 minutes. So the average time is usually right around an hour. So people tend to have plenty of time. Just be mindful of the clock. You only get one attempt, so make sure you're ready and organized before you begin. Now, what I mean by that, a couple of things, right? Make sure you've studied and prepared, like we just talked about. Make sure you know all of the terms on the study guide, because that's what the exam will be. Make sure that you have 75 minutes to spare. You have good internet, you have a quiet place to take the test. Just do everything in your power to set yourself up for success. So one attempt, be ready and organized before you begin. As I mentioned, you can use your notes, you can use your book, you can use your prepared study guide. But if you're trying to look everything up, you will run out of time. So just, again, be mindful. Don't forget to save all of your answers. And the website will stop you if you run out of time. So again, one more time, watch your clock. But make sure that everything is that orange gold color, everything is saved. And as soon as you're done, you'll hit submit and you'll get a score instantly. It will tell you what your score was on the test. Remember that the scores here don't come over to Canvas automatically. So if you take it here and don't see it on Canvas, don't panic. Once the deadline for this week passes, I'll bring all the scores over, just like I did with the mandatory orientation quiz. But you can always find your score here in that little grade book if you want to just double check that it's there. So I hope you all do really well on the exam. Again, they are very straightforward. If you've prepared, you should be in really good shape. But definitely study, go through that study guide, make sure you know everything on there. And if it's not on there, you don't need to worry about it. Okay? Are there any questions at the moment about the exam? I do have a couple of reminders for you and the extra credit question. But any questions at the moment about the test? I know tests are very anxiety inducing, but this one's very straightforward. And as long as you've been reading and you prepare, you should be in really, really good shape. Okay, so while I'm waiting to see if there are any questions, a few reminders for you. The first one, several of you have figured out the subscription piece, but remember that if you're watching this later as a recording, you can still get those extra credit points in answering the question if you are subscribed on Twitch. So maybe take a minute and try and figure that out if you haven't already. If you haven't figured it out in general, like those instructions are all on Canvas if you need it. So just make sure to take a moment and do that if you haven't. I appreciate it. It saves me so much time not having to match up your name with your account. The other reminder I have for you, if you're looking ahead to next week, I can't believe we're almost at the end of August here. It's wild. So let me put this in the chat. Our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, August 27th at 11:45 a.m. Okay, so next week, our week number 3 stream, what I'll do is I'll go over some of the feedback from this week and last week, kind of tell you what I saw in the discussions and the exam. We will go over the requirements and stuff going on for week number 3. And of course, I'll give you the extra credit question like usual. And this recording will be up in an hour or two. I'll post the recording right here once it's uploaded and downloaded and all that fun stuff. But let me give you the extra credit question so that you have that. I typed it out ahead of time just to help myself. I'll copy and paste it here into the chat and show you where you can answer it. So this is the week number 2 Twitch extra credit question. And hopefully this will help you a little bit with the discussion this week. This is something they kind of piggyback off of each other. So your question for this week is, what is meant by electrochemical communication? Describe both pieces of how neurons communicate with each other. So what is meant by electrochemical communication, and describe how describe how neurons communicate with each other. So describe the electrical piece and the chemical piece, 2 elements working together. And when you're ready to answer that, you'll go to Canvas. And since we're in week 2, you'll click on optional Twitch extra credit number 2 right here. And that will bring up this part where you can click on start assignment up at the top. And you can type your response in the box. And when you're done with your answer, hit submit to get your little confetti burst. And Panda's riding a unicycle. That's a unique one. I'm not sure I've seen that one before. That's funny. So that's how you can get those 2 points. Again, if you do these every single week, it adds up to like 16 points. So I hope you take advantage. And if you're watching this later as a recording, remember that you can still do this as long as you are subscribed on Twitch. Okay, so I think that's everything that I have for you. Remember to get everything from weeks 1 and 2 in by this Sunday night. Just one little plea from me to you. Remember that I do not accept materials late. Okay, so if you email me at 12:01 Monday morning, it will be too late. Everything is due by Sunday night. But if you have an emergency, if something comes up, if you reach out to me before the deadline, I'm more than happy to work with you. So just please make sure you reach out if something comes up. Otherwise, get everything in. I hope you all have a wonderful week and stay cool in this very warm weather that I'm not a big fan of. I will hang out for a few minutes. If any of you do have any questions, you can put them in the chat. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Thank you so much. I'm going to write that in here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to minimize my video so I'm not staring at myself awkwardly. But if you do have any questions about the exam or the study guide or anything else, please feel free to put it in the chat and I would be more than happy to answer it. I'm so sorry again for being a couple minutes late, but the internet was perfect. So taking the minute to reset it, I think was worth it. It was so bad before I reset the router. So anyway, thank you again. Have a wonderful week, everyone. And as I said, I'll hang out for a few minutes in case you have any other questions. Thank you all too. Oops, I can't type. Thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Again, try and stay cool in this very, very warm weather. Thank you too. Have a great week. And I am still here. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to put them in the chat. I posted it in the chat. If you look up a little bit, I'll put it one more time right here. It was what is meant by electrochemical communication. Describe both pieces of how neurons communicate with each other. Oh, no worries. Sometimes feel like they get lost in the chat, so I posted it one more time right there just so you have it. You're welcome. If you go back, you can watch the recording. So if you go back to week number 1, I always post the recordings. So what you can do is go right here to week number 1, see how it says recording of week number 1 Twitch live stream. If you click on that and watch it, it will have the recording of the video, which will include the extra credit question for you. Yeah, you can go if you're all done and you feel good. I gave the question and everything at this point. You can totally go. And I went over the exam right here. So where do I find the first test? So if you're on Canvas, if you click on exam number 1, it will remind you that the exam is actually on the ebook site. So all exams are taken on the Psyched book. So when you're on the Psyched book, you click on exams up at the top up here on the top right corner. And when you click on exams, it brings up a list of all of them. So this is where you took that mandatory orientation quiz. So just scroll down just a tiny bit and it's right here. See how it says exams 1 through 4? And when you're ready, you just click begin your attempt. So it's on the Psyched ebook site and you go to right here at the top where it says exams and then exam number 1, begin your attempt. And you have till Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. I hope that helps. You don't know where the ebook site is? So you had to have taken the mandatory orientation quiz on there to still be in the class. So if you haven't taken that quiz, you should have been dropped last week. So if you're on our Canvas page, right? So if you're on Canvas and you click on exam 1, here's the link to the book, right? So if you click on exam number 1 on Canvas, it will take you right here and you can click on this to go to your ebook page. But it's the Psyched book where you took that mandatory orientation quiz where you've been reading the chapters and so on. Only if you're like, so I'm not sure what you're asking here. So I teach 2 classes at the college, which you're obviously welcome to join if you're enrolled at the college. Or you could come join me next semester too within them. You just obviously have to sign up for them through the school. You too. Have a wonderful day. I'll hang out for another minute or so if anyone has any other questions. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off so I can start the download process. But again, I hope you all have a wonderful week and stay cool in the hot weather.